Good day, virtual pilots. Welcome to this training presentation of the VATSAF PTD. We are sitting here at Wonderboom Airport. That's Foxtrot Alpha Whiskey Bravo. We're on the Charlie apron. We're in the standard Charlie 172, or Cessna 172 in X-Plane 11.3. What we have done is I've added the REP expansion pack, which I bought from the xplane.org store. This is just to spice up and get the reality on this aircraft a bit more real. First thing we're going to do is we're going to make sure that we have enough fuel in this aircraft. We'll put in the pilot's weight. That's mine. That's obviously in pounds. We've got no passengers, we've got no right seats, and we've got no baggage. Then what we'll do is we'll put in the US gallons amount of fuel. For the exercise, I'm going to fill it to the brim. Let's say full tanks. And you will see we are still within the normal category class of this aircraft, so we are ready for departure. We will now be connecting to VATSIM. I'm using X-Squawk box because it's X-Plane. I've got my server IP in there, which is identified as Canada. I've got my CID in there. I've got my password and the type of aircraft that I'm flying. I also have a shortcut key to see whether ATC is online, and I see Wonderboom Tower is up. For this exercise, we will go through the before start checklist. The first thing we'll check is to make sure that the parking brakes are on. There, she's on. We'll make sure that the fuel shutdown is open, the selectors is set on both. As in the real world, I will start with the I'll start up on the left tank. I will then taxi on onto the right tank. I will do the run up on both tanks, and the rest of the flight will be done on both tanks. That's just to check and make sure that the fuel flow out of both tanks are operative and fully functional. Aviation master is off, battery master is on, alternator master is on, beacon light is on, fuel pump is on. We will set the mixture to lean. Then what we'll do is we will then switch off the fuel pump. We will set the throttle to quarter. We will make sure that all is clear, and then we'll start the engine and reach in the mixture as the aircraft spins up. Master switches goes on, beacon lights are on, and we will leave the avionics switches off until the aircraft is running, and that's to avoid certain power spikes. Fuel pump goes on. You can hear her running. Right. Quarter open. And we will now turn it. Check a slow idle. Which is good. And we'll bring it up to 1000 RPM. Avionics switch goes on, and we will set our radio. We will now fill in our flight plan. It's a VFR flight. We will put our equipment here as a standard mode C Charlie squawk. Departing Wonderboom. And we will arrive at Wonderboom. And we can put that as an alternative. We've done Syria. Cruise alt. We'll be flying a circuit, so that is airport elevation plus 1000 feet. So we'll file for 055 or below. To airspeed. And there in your remarks you can put anything in there. Obviously you can select if you text, receive only, or you transmit and receive, and whatever you want to put into your side the remarks button. Right, let's make our ATC call for a radio check. Vonneman Tower, very good morning. Golf Echo Oscar here on the Charlie apron, requesting radio check.
Michelle Golf Echo Oscar, good morning, sir. We do 5 running.
The Golf Echo Oscar, we reach you 5 out of 5, sir. Vonneman Tower, Golf Echo Oscar is type Charlie 172. We are parked here on the Charlie apron. One on board, endurance is 4 hours, elapsed time 1 hour, requesting taxi instructions to the active for circuits and landings.
Michelle Golf Echo Oscar, good morning again. Runway news is 112H1022. Scope 2001, contact holding point Alpha. Runway 11 via Golf. Delta 3, Delta 2 and Delta 1 report ready to departure.
QNH 1022, runway 11 in use, so we are clear to the hold for runway 11 via the Charlie apron to the Deltas, and we'll be squawking 2001 on the box, so Golf Echo Oscar. Right, let's look at the checklist. We are now ready for the taxi. We've done that. P's and T's are in the green, avionics on frequency are set. We've done that. The alternatives, set the direction indicator. I've got a shortcut called Q, which I will set the direction indicator on. We've spoken to tower, so what we'll do, we'll switch on our taxi lights and we'll do a quick brake test, and then we'll see you at the hold. Brakes are fine. Right, let's have a look at the checklist. Runner checks throttle 1800 RPM. We will test the magnetos. Throttle goes back to slow idle to make sure the aircraft is all running. We'll do our before takeoff checks at the same time. We will set the trim, and let me just bring it back onto 1000. Magnets, both field selector will be set onto both for the run-up. Flaps as required. Normal takeoff in the Charlie 172 requires no flaps. And then obviously we'll do all the rest of our nav lights, our squawk codes. Once we're lined up onto the runway, we will then readjust our director indicator with a compass. The taxi lights go off, landing lights go on, no autopilot, and we will contact the tower for the takeoff. After takeoff, we will climb up to 300 feet. We'll do our after takeoff checks. It's not required for this exercise. It's just a thing. Landing lights off, wheels up, P's and T's in the green, suction is good, and so forth. Maintaining climbing out 70 knots. Best climb speed is 70 knots. 500 feet, we'll do a left-hand turnout onto the circuit altitude, and then on the left-hand downwind, where we will talk to tower again. Right, let's go. Full reach. We take her up to 1800 RPM. Make sure she's not creeping. First magneto test. Second magneto test. Right, she looks alright. Then we will actually she's on full reach at the moment. We will now just set the mixture for optimal takeoff. Look at the 1000 RPM. There we are. As we lean her out, you will see she will increase. There she goes. There's a decrease. So we'll just bring her up there. So we know we've got an optimal setting. We take her back to slow idle. About 650, 700, you should be sitting there, and we take her back to 1000. Temperature is rising, that's a good sign. Oil pressure is stabilizing. Vacuum is a bit low on this RPA, on this revolutions at the moment. Fuel flow is fairly low. And let's call a line up at the hold and report ready. Golf Echo Oscar ready, runway 11.
Golf Echo Oscar, scope mode to Charlie, please.
Right, ATC 1 to Charlie, I'm going to score Alt. Landing lights are on.
Golf Echo Oscar, thank you, sir, runway 11. Clear for takeoff, winds are 07 knots, report left downwind to runway 11.
Cleared for takeoff, runway 11, report left downwind next, Golf Echo Oscar. Right, we'll hit the Q key, make sure all the alignments are done. You've seen it checking up there. Right, let's roll. 1, 2, 3, 4. Bit of right rudder, just to get the weather cocking sorted. Right, we're waiting. 60 knots. Level it down a bit. Wait for 70, let's start the climb out. Right, we'll do left hand turn out. Make sure the ball stays in the middle, gents. Climbing turn. And where do we want to be? About 90 degrees to an angle of the runway. Golf Echo Oscar left downwind, runway 11, full stop landing. Maintain altitude checks.
Golf Echo Oscar, report the final runway 11, number 1.
The final next, number 1 for runway 11, Golf Echo Oscar. Okay, when should we turn? We should turn about at a 45-degree angle on the left wing in this case. From the runway, we should be plus minus there. And we will now turn in. Level turn. Maintaining altitude, speed's a bit low. Give it a second notch of flaps. There's the runway. As you turn, you'll see your speed will drop, gents. Keep that speed up, 70 knots, that's where we want to be. Golf Echo Oscar finals, runway 11, full stop landing.
Golf Echo Oscar, the winds 0807 knots, clear land runway 11, report vacated.
Clear to land runway 11, report vacated next, Golf Echo Oscar. That's fine, we've got good terrain clearance. Right, now the trim tab starts playing a role here, gents. Trimmer, trimmer, trimmer up. That will just assist your flare. Right, we're Close the right down. Balance with the rudder. Not a very excellent landing, chap. Sorry about that. Ugh. That's one thing about this aircraft, it's very jumpy. You will see the hold line. You will cross the hold line, bring the aircraft to a stop. Golf Oscar, runway vacated, requesting taxi to the Charlie apron. And the lights are off.
Coffee Oscar via Charlie 2 taxi, Charlie apron, reporting blocks.
Clear to the Charlie apron via the Charlie taxiway, and we report on the block, Golf Oscar. We are cleared on the Charlie apron, so on the left is Delta, so we're not going to turn in there. We're going to taxi straight onto the Charlie. Golf Oscar on the Charlie apron, and we're shutting down. Thank you for the ATC services. Have a good day.
Golf Oscar, welcome to one of them, so monitor Unicom 122.8 providing.